Do you think somebody who works towards achieving their goals by setting, changing their habits, ensuring that they do everything to achieve that habit is an innovation? Guys, any thoughts?
So I would say that would not be so much of an innovation. Like, of course, it can be considered a small part of it, but not that innovative if we look at it from a different point of view.
Why do you say so?
Um, so because like
Call me
if we're
Kuljeet. Please feel free to call me Kuljeet.
sure, sir. It's just that when we're changing a position or something, so it's not that much of an innovative part than actually creating something that helps us. Like when we say it's like jugaad, so it's although helping us a little bit, but not to an extent that we can actually call it, something new that have been evolved.
I really appreciate that. Uh, Jugaad in a negative connotation is not innovation, but Jugaad in a positive, what you call aspect, is innovation. Like you create something with less amount of energy, resources, manpower, or time, and you do something which was being achieved by that kind of time, you achieve that in very small measure of that time, energy, resources, money, whatever, is nothing else but innovation, because you have paved a way to achieve certain result by doing something new. So, do you understand where I am coming from? So, okay, let me go back to that. So,
Yes, sir,
first
I
of
get
all,
that.
great. So, okay, my thought process is when you actually are a careless growing person, not careless, okay, the word I said is wrong. When you do not get the actual meaning of the studies or achieving a certain result in your own being, in your class, that means at that point of time you do not have an aspiration to do something which brings the desired results. Let me point out to certain thing which you might connect with. Those of you who probably want to go to Olympics, do you think suddenly someday something will happen and you will reach Olympics? It doesn't happen. Some of you who want to become a, sorry, somebody wants to say something. Which one? Yes, please.
Yeah, sir, you asked about we can reach Olympics in just one instant or not. I said no. That was the answer for that.
Great. So, Ujjwal, let me take that conversation further. Do you think somebody becomes rich overnight?
No, sir.
Okay, let me go one step
If we go by
behind.
the lottery, sir, then there might be a possibility.
I knew somebody would bring that up. Fine. Okay. I'm not talking about exceptions. I'm talking about
Yes, sir.
real life.
Otherwise, it's not possible.
Okay. Now look at it. Do you think somebody becomes a national Olympiad champion in one day? That doesn't happen. Nowhere in life, if you don't deserve something, you will never achieve it. Please understand that. I am saying if you don't deserve something, you will never achieve it. But now, sometimes the life is so unfair that you deserve it. You have done that 101 times, still you don't achieve it. So, but somebody who has not even aspired to do something will never achieve that goal. Are you coming around to the concept which I am bringing to you right now? So the person who came first in physics Olympiad or mathematics Olympiad in your class, was he or she already not doing the best among the class or probably in the school to achieve that Olympiad results? They already have been doing that for a long time. Somebody who goes to school federations of India, games of games or nationals, he doesn't become champion in a day. Somebody who wins national championship of swimming or probably enters IIT by topping it or becoming even 1000 ranked, they don't become champions on in one day. They do it over years and years, and that is called practice. And for that practice, you need to be able to see something called a desired goal, which you look at it, and then when you desire it, or then once you desire it, then only can you aspire to be a champion. Means you go to IIT, you go to AIMS, you go to, means it is your wish. What is your desire? Point is, you want to be an Olympian, you want to be a doctor, you want to be an engineer, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be a judge, you want to be whatever. The point is, you have to first aspire to be that. And once the aspiration comes, then something comes that you choose to act. Once that aspiration comes, means if in class 7 somebody decides to be at IIT or MIT, then he or she chooses to act in a certain fashion, which is not easy. Otherwise, everybody would have been a millionaire. When they do that, they are actually choosing to put their resources. They also have the time like you. They also had the what you call picture halls which you have. They also have the malls which you have. They decide to spend time on certain books or on field. They, they were they put hard work and perspired to achieve that result. Do you understand the difference there? Guys, I'm sounding like preaching, I know, but that is how life is. Means somebody in your parents, if they have been saying these things, so let's understand this. First of all, you have to aspire. Yes, Raja Ram Mohan sir. राजा राम मोहन साहब, आपकी आवाज नहीं आई. Okay. Miss Soni, is it that he tried to say something, or is it that somehow he did not say anything?
He must have just, unmuted himself to check the mic.
Okay, okay, cool. Once you aspire and you choose to act in a certain fashion, I am talking about education because that is the easiest thing you can do. Trust me when I'm saying that, that is the easiest thing for your own career you can do. I am not talking about right now anything else like probably Olympics because that sounds very sexy, or probably becoming a gamer, which sounds even more sexier. But I am talking about run of the mill product. Can you imagine any champion who became a champion suddenly? No. So can you imagine Roger Federer or probably Serena Williams? What kind of hard work have they put in to reach there? Now, that is what is you choose to do something which others are not choosing to do. So this is a conscious thought of design. It is a design in your mind that you choose to do something which not many others are doing. And you do it in a regular fashion. Third, discover. When you do something with your heart, with your whole energies, then you discover many aspects of that activity. Like, I have no interest in cricket. So for me, the ball could move, spin, or the ball could move in air was very revealing because I was looking at a commentary and he spoke about the ball moving in the air and then he showed the video. Very innovative. Somebody must have decided at a point in time that ball can move in the air. It's physics, pure simple physics. The point is somebody used that they roughened the ball on one side, they made sure the shine was there on the other side, and then they used fingers and then the kind of speed, energy, and the ball moved on both sides. So then you discover new aspects. When you play football or when you get involved in some activity at a level which others have not involved, you figure out new ways of doing things in that. So how many of you can tell me that probably you have a reading speed of 700 words per minute? How many of you can claim? I'm really doing a poll right now to figure out how many of you can think that you can read 700 words a minute. Anybody who thinks in this group? Guys, anybody? Okay, 500 words. Or maybe 300 words. Nobody wishes to answer? That's cool. The reason why I say so is, please understand, when somebody tells you that आगे अभी पढ़ लो आगे ऐश होगी, they are lying. They are actually lying to you. So please do not understand that thing कि अभी पढ़ लो आगे ऐश होगी. वो आपको पढ़ने के लिए नहीं कह रहे. They are asking you to practice your speed of reading, speed of comprehension, speed of understanding it, and then delivering that to a certain audience, which might be examiner in your case, at a certain speed. When you talk about your boards, you are talking about a low end speed. But the moment you talk about competitions like AIMS, IIT, MIT, the delivery of that information is at a very fast speed to weed out people. Can you imagine the amount of information which people like Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg or anybody, uh, Sergey Brin, or probably the Oracle chief gets that information, what kind of reading speed he must have be having, and what kind of comprehension that guy must be having, the level of understanding, the level of involvement in activity, it's equivalent to same or probably more than the ones like Roger Federer or probably Serena Williams. So anybody who tells you कि आज पढ़ लो कल ऐश होगी is lying. They are preparing you for the war which is going to happen tomorrow in your life. The war of exclusion. The war of achieving those resources which may not be available to many. So please understand, how many of you know that Bill Gates and Mark, the Facebook guy, had done or read C++ or C in class at the age of 13? They had already done those and written programs which were of much higher value than what even professionals could write. How many of you know that? Any of you? So, Harivansh, I actually understand 700 words is difficult. Do you think Usain Bolt ran that under 10, or the speeds he achieved on, he would have achieved if he would have said, no, sir, it is difficult? In this world, nothing is difficult. It is a matter of focus and practice. So when you aspire to become that, you put your focus in that fashion where you then put all your energies, all your faculties to aspire. So that is where the secret comes in, where your vision comes in. Then you choose, the moment you choose, then you involve yourself in that so-called perspiring activity. As they say, 1% inspiration, which is aspire, 99% perspiration. Moving to discover, the moment you start perspiring for these kind of things, you learn new ways of doing it, or you get new insight into those activities which you never had. Then once you do that, you evolve. I know of somebody, means from the newspaper only, from who could actually turn the pages and read at that fast. You can figure out, probably there are people like that who could turn the pages and they could read the book like that, or they could actually focus on the whole page in one go and read it in that very second. It is nothing else but focus and practice. Once you do that, once you evolve, the moment you achieve, suppose you are learning guitar and you have learned chords, and then you start accelerating on those chords by bringing speed to them. How do you see all those jazz guitarists and all those rock guitarists are able to achieve humanly impossible speeds of stringing the guitar? So similarly, why do you think people are able to achieve speeds of 1000 words to 2000 words in a minute? Or why do you think Serena Williams can win championships as has not been won by anybody? Because they have that passion every day to aspire and choose to do this. I will give you another example who probably you will know very well. Do you know Sachin Tendulkar had a partner called Kambli, Vinod Kambli? So Vinod Kambli was even more talented than Sachin Tendulkar. But the guy who had the discipline to aspire, to choose, to discover and evolve was Sachin Tendulkar. This is a folklore that he was even more talented than Sachin Tendulkar, but he got wasted because his focus wavered. Now, once you accelerate, you have to scale up your. So, once you were reading class 9th books, if you have not read class 12th books by your 9th class, can you aspire to be in IIT or MIT? And then you aspire, then you start reading books written by Nelson Parker or Sean series or whatever. to really upgrade your thinking, or you do speeds of calculation which are not humanly possible to achieve that. So then you create scale, and then you extend. Extend is something where you ensure that it does not happen in one field. I will tell you of a guy, somebody who created e-value server. I know of plenty of people who have created many big, should I say, startups. But this guy was 10 pointer from IIT, 10 pointer from some US university. He was, he did his PhD and he was a 10 pointer there. It was his attitude. And can you believe he was a national champion in India for badminton? He was a poker player. He was a bridge player. He was an architect. So once you bring that attitude to fore, where you do know very clearly that you can bring that attitude of innovation, of putting your mind to a task and completing it in a fashion that nobody else can achieve, that is where your mastery comes into play. And that mastery for others is impossible, because they have never done that kind of aspiration, choosing to focus on that activity, discovering new options in that, evolving those options, accelerating those options, and then scaling those options, and then extending it to community or themselves in various other areas. Last but not the least, mobilizing your resources. How many of you can actually think that you can achieve everything without a team? So anybody who goes to even IIT cannot do that unless and until his parents support him or her in achieving those results of getting up every day morning at 4 o'clock. Somebody puts the tea on the table, somebody puts the breakfast on the table, somebody goes and brings the milk. So the whole team is supporting you to be free to be able to, for you to be able to do certain things. Once you have done all this, then you figure out that you are actually every day innovating yourself to ensure that you have created something called a habit. Now, what does habit mean? So I am missing a chapter in a slide in between consciously, because I have covered all that in the previous slide. So now, process or pursuit of innovative mindset and training for it. Let me assure you, constraints are not the enmity of creativity. When you tell your parents that I probably am in tension because you have said something, or you are giving me tension, actually it is the constraint of yourself which you are passing on to your parent. Or when you are constrained by certain resource or by something, you can remember people like Dhirubhai Ambani, who was a petrol pump player, a person who used to fill petrol at a petrol pump and ended up being one of the richest men in India. Or even there are thousands of cases where people have aspired to be IAS and they have become IAS. Not that I hold IAS in a very high opinion, but I am saying for some people who came from an impoverished background of being a rickshaw puller's son, or a chai wala's daughter, or a daily laborer's daughter, and becoming an IAS by choosing to do certain activity, is the creativity. Constraints don't kill the creativity, they actually make you think how can you overcome those constraints. So please change your attitude and change your mindset from an aspect of that this is bogging me down to this is the problem which I need to solve. I need to solve by creating an innovative solution, or I need to solve it by doing something unprecedented, which people, or let me 99.9999%, I am not talking about the people who win lotteries, but all those people have worked and toiled hard after doing their daily routine where they were bogged down by they pull their inner resources, energy, passion, that aspiration, where they freshen themselves to become that dedicated to that goal, that they achieve those goals. And they keep on acting in a certain manner, probably working hard, probably studying hard, probably reading hard to achieve those results. I am not holding it against you, kid. Please do not take my statement as I am holding it against you. When it comes to innovation, the single most common piece of advice is to think outside the box, which is actually wrong. You have a box. Point is, that box will not disappear. But to come out of the box, you have to think within those constraints to make sure that box doesn't become your reality. So, the moment you think outside the box, it is called basically ignoring reality. Your constraints, according to this view, are the enemy of creativity because they sap intrinsic motivation and limit possibilities. So, let's look at sophisticated means Horizon 3 research. Let's talk about Madame Curie. Let's talk about what you call Newton or Tesla, or think about any such guys. They all had constraints and they still innovated in a certain manner. And trust me, unless and until you have that practiced knowledge or the whole body of experience which comes before you really achieve that sophisticated innovation, it is not going to happen. We at IBM Research used to ensure that people start thinking about how to achieve innovation. When you think about removing those constraints, that is where you achieve innovation. So do you think graphene came out of some, should I say, somebody was sleeping in the park and he suddenly got what you call inspiration? That doesn't happen. Your Wright brothers must have tried 100,000 times before they got their plane right. Similarly, anybody who made engines for rail transport, for ships or whatever, actually must have tried creating those engines again and again and again before they could really achieve that. So point is, unless and until you really have that solid knowledge, practice, understanding of your own constraints that you're working in, you will never achieve that innovation. For people, it is success in one day, but actually behind that success is huge, huge, huge amount of perspiration and understanding of the basic thing. Okay, so I will just talk about, how many of you heard that habits are the basis of your success? Anybody? Has anybody heard a saying, habits are the basis of your success? Let me tell you something here very clearly. You do not decide your future. You decide the habits you form, and those habits decide your future. So point is, if you don't think innovation, innovating, or getting outside your constraints every day and write it down every day, you will suddenly become a champion. That doesn't happen. Or you will suddenly become an innovator. That doesn't happen. So you have to form an habit of thinking, critically analyzing, then thinking again, and bringing some new insight into those thoughts which others have not been able to do. That is where innovations comes into being. And making a habit of innovation or a habit of anything is the easiest way to achieve that. If you talk about smoking as a habit, drinking as a habit, mm, drugs as a habit, yes, they are habits, but they are negative habits. You have to think of these in positive way. Think of how many of you can get up at 4 o'clock in the morning when others are asleep and go for something called meditation or exercise, or do reading at that point in time when you're not being disturbed. How many of you have thought of exercising daily for doing something, or how many of you have thought about thinking every day and doing critical analysis of the day, previous day, and then thinking about what to do next day? Or even if you want to go achieve certain goals, so let me give you a very stupid analogy to that. You all most probably are in one place. If you have to, I'm assuming, okay, I'm assuming that you all are in Delhi. So I'm saying if you have to go to Chandigarh from Delhi, and if you don't have that idea about going to Chandigarh, and if you start cycling or driving a car as fast as you can you reach Chandigarh? You have to design your thought to reach Chandigarh because you know the end point. If you somebody puts you on the road to Agra, somebody puts you on the road to Mathura, somebody puts you on the road to Bombay, somebody puts you on the road to Calcutta, you are not reaching Chandigarh. Or even if you pass by Ambala and still end up going on some other go, you are still not going to go to Chandigarh. So it is you first who has to decide what is the aim. As they say, it is the direction which is important, not the speed. So point is, when you understand your own direction, then you put all your resources. The speed of your resources will depend on your focus, on your energy, what kind of energy you bring to that, what kind of insight you bring to that, your goal. But that goal is a far distant possibility. The things which you do daily, which are your habits, will ensure. So you have to probably, if you are trying to reach Chandigarh from Delhi, 250 kilometers of cycling will have to be done every moment before you reach Chandigarh. If your direction is wrong and if you are doing cycling very good, you might end up reaching Calcutta or Bombay, but you're still not reaching Chandigarh. So goal is one which you achieve by doing constant action on it in a particular focused direction. Innovation is exactly that way. You have to think about what you want to innovate in, create a mindset of innovation, and do that daily in your own body, in your own thought process, in your own habits, in your own reading. You innovate daily to achieve higher and higher results daily. Why is habit important? Have you understood the importance of habit by now? How it helps you achieve your goal? So now a habit is something we do regularly because we have practiced so hard. So point is, when you see the backhand from Serena Williams or when you see the topspin from Zhang, you understand that they have practiced their muscles so well that they exactly know what to do when such kind of things happen. So habit is something we do regularly, which becomes non-conscious for us. So if you see fighters, the guys who do judo, karate, or that kind of thing, or meditation, or do unprecedented things, for them, they have trained their body to achieve something. That something is their habit. I will not go more detail after this because I have already covered my time. But I will request you to read through the probable habits which you could do. You actually know about those things. So now I would like to say only one thing here. When you think about achieving something, please learn to actually think and aspire first, and then only can you do that. So I'm going to give you a to do out of this. So the bottom line of definition of having an innovative mindset is to remain your individual, unique individual, and try and achieve the goals which you have decided for yourselves. And once you decide that goal of innovation, then you do something called practicing that habit of practicing that skill every day to achieve your goal of innovation. Once you get into the habit of achieving or trying to do the best every day in your own sphere, then you will start achieving the habit of innovation. You can't simply reach Olympics in one day. So if you are not doing the best 5 hour practice like probably Usain Bolt or 10-hour practice, you are not going to be an Olympian. So point is, achieving a mindset is the reality. It is the attitude and behavior which you built in. That is what is the. Now, how many, so I'm going to give you an activity. Activity is, please write down your goal 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, doesn't matter. And then what you write down the goal and write down activities which you will do daily, which will put you on the path to that goal. So it is like when we go to, if we don't get food 3 times or 4 times a day, our body feels weak. Similarly, when your brain doesn't get that exercise every day of thinking, of analyzing, of simulation as well as dreaming of that result, what will happen when you achieve that goal, it will become weak. So your body has to be strong with exercise. Your mind has to be strong and focused with your exercise of brains. And also, when you give rest to your body, you also give rest to your brains by something called doing meditation. But when you have written, once you have written your goal, then you write down the activities which you will do daily till they become natural to you for achievement of that goal. But inspiration will again come from that goal to do those boring activities every day in and out. So that was what I probably would like to give you an exercise. And now the forum is open for any questions that you have. Guys, I am not too good at actually reading the comments because this is the first time I'm on Zoom, though I have been using so-called virtual office from 1998 when people had not even heard about it. Many of you must not have been born also in that year. So or most of you. So I have been, you guys are learning to something called work from home today. I have been doing that from 1998, but still this app called Zoom is not which I know the best. So please speak if you have any questions.
The activity you gave, are the students supposed to write it in the chat box, or like it's a home activity that we had to set a goal or something?
My thought process is it's a home activity because thinking about goals and deciding about the activities which you will do daily right now may not happen. So my thought process is that you should take time out. And trust me when I'm saying this, it doesn't happen with cell phones in hand, it doesn't happen with screens in front or TV in front. You have to sit down, think probably 7 days without doing something called all those exciting activities. So one message which I would like to teach you or give you is learn to be boring. Learn to be a nerd. Nerd doesn't mean bad. All those what you call exciting people you see in the world, even your heroines or probably the actresses have done extreme hard work to reach there. They have to remember lines while speaking on screen which you may not imagine. The whole dialogue they have to remember in one go. They also have to probably climb, do horse riding, jump from XYZ places, do stunts which their body is not tuned to. So those guys also go through extreme hard work before they really achieve something. So it is nowhere, it is easy. So point is you have to think, how do you actually understand that boring is your friend? Boring is what will give you the results which others don't think is possible. There was a Harvard study in which 75 years have gone by now, they are still studying that, in which they kept a jar full of what you call uh, sweets in the room with 4 year, 5 year old kids. And they said, either you take it right now, you get one, you hold for an hour and you pick the sweets, you get two. Most people who took the immediate chance of picking up the sweet, or most kids, never succeeded in life. Those who could actually control their impulse and go for the higher value of two sweets, all later on became successful. So let me rephrase that in your own. Those people in seventh and eighth who actually did nothing other than watch TV and cell phones are not going to go to colleges like probably Harvard, MIT, or IIT. Those who put aside those things and became boring in trying to practice hard the skill of reading, the skill of understanding, the skill of practice, maybe football, maybe hockey, maybe whatever, are the ones who will go and achieve the greater heights. So learn to be boring. Boring doesn't mean that your mind is not active. Boring means learn to do hard work, immerse yourself in the hard work, immerse yourself in the activity, and then bring out innovation in your own field.